Okay, we got a young comedian team coming out here. They're teenagers. They're from DeLand Springs, Pat and Sewell Shannon. They're called Honey and Honey. They're teenagers. Give them their first gig they ever did. Give them a big round of applause. Honey and Honey, where are you? They're teenagers.
And now, friends, let us journey to the past, to the days of old-time radio, when a cup of joe cost you just a nickel, and the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. And if someone was cool, they just put on a sweater. Join us now as we gather around the Philco for another episode featuring America's favorite radio sweethearts, Honey and Honey.
Hi, honey. How you doing this evening?
Just great, honey. How are you?
Well, to be honest, honey, I'm kind of nervous about entertaining those millions of radio listeners out there in Radio Land.
Oh, don't you worry. Don't you worry. You can't hear the radio audience when they boo.
Okay, but look at that studio audience out there. Boy, they look like a tough bunch. I've been watching them. What if they boo me?
Now, don't you worry about that, honey. They can't boo and yawn at the same time. Thank goodness this isn't TV.
Speaking of booing, do you remember last Friday at the retirement home when I played the ukulele and I sang my heart out?
Sure, I remember. And after the show, you had a chat with a man in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and I gave him some words of encouragement. I said, I hope you get better soon.
What did he say?
Well, he said, I hope you do too.
Say,
honey, what do you think he meant?
Did you hear about the break-in at the bell factory?
Yeah, someone stole the bell clappers.
Were they copper clappers?
Yeah, in fact, they were clean copper clappers.
Who copped those clean copper clappers?
It was Claude Cooper. He had just moved here from Cleveland.
You mean, honey, that Cleveland's Claude Cooper copped the clean copper clappers?
Yep, he was a kleptomaniac.
Well, who discovered the caper?
Well, it was the cleaning lady, Clara Clifford.
Are you telling me that cleaner Clara Clifford caught Cleveland's Claude Cooper copying those clean copper clappers? How did she do it?
She clobbered him.
Oh, honey, I forgot to tell you. I wrote a very nice letter to the IRS.
The IRS? Are you crazy? Don't you know we have to keep a low profile, the IRS? What did you tell them?
Well, I confess that I've been feeling quite guilty lately and that I couldn't sleep knowing that we cheated on our income tax.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you want me to go to jail?
Oh, no. Don't worry. It's all right. I added a postscript that fixed up everything.
Oh, I sure hope so.
I just said, here is a check for $150, and if I still can't sleep, I'll send you the rest.
Oh. Well, you know, honey, if you keep doing dumb things like that, I'm going back to my first wife.
Well, if you keep fixing things with duct tape, I'm going to send you back to her.
Well, she's a real beauty.
Sure. Why don't you tell the audience about this beautiful first wife and let them decide?
Okay, I'll sing that song I wrote about her. We got married on Friday. My wife stood there beside me. Our friends were all gone. We were alone side by side. We were glad we were wed then. We got ready for bed then. Her teeth and her hair she placed on the chair, side by side. One corked leg so dainty, one glass eye so small. Her left arm she took off before me, placed it on the chair by the wall. I stood there broken-hearted, for most of my wife had departed. I slept on the chair, there was more of her there. Side by, oh yes, side by side.
Philosophy, and I've made some astounding revelations.
Well, I've had several philosophy courses in college. I can't spell philosophy, but anyway, so I'm sure that I'll be capable of evaluating your efforts.
Well, it seems to me that the applause you get before you sing is an act of faith.
That's a good start. I suppose you're going to tell me that the applause during my singing is an act of hope.
You're starting to understand. Remember the three essential human expressions, faith, hope, and charity?
Well, you covered faith and hope. Well, what about charity?
It's obvious, isn't it?
Well, not really.
The applause after you sing, that's an act of charity.
Oh, honey, I forgot to tell you about the embarrassing thing that our granddaughter Rose said.
What's that?
Well, she asked me to talk like a frog.
Oh, for heaven's sake, why would she ask you to do that?
Well, she said, well, Daddy said that we'll all be rich when Grandpa croaks.
Oh.
We really have some nice memories, don't we?
We sure do.
Remember our honeymoon? Oh, wasn't that romantic?
Well, it was until you started to use those four-letter words. That wasn't very nice.
Oh, I'll have you know that my family is very upstanding, and my ancestors go back to 1760, and we have a tradition of never insulting a lady with four-letter words.
Well, maybe so, but I know what I heard, and it's not easy on a new bride to hear such language.
I'm confused. What words do you mean?
You should remember, you used those four-letter words several times.
Well, tell me which words.
Wash, iron, and cook.
Four letters, all right?
Honey, I forgot to tell you about the trouble with my car.
Oh, what kind of trouble?
Well, it has water in the carburetor.
Water in the carburetor? That's ridiculous.
I tell you, the car has water in the carburetor.
You don't even know what a carburetor is. I'll check it out. Where's the car?
In the pool.
I said, where's the car?
In the swimming pool.
Honey, I can't hear you. Where's the car?
In the swimming pool.
Well, let's change the subject. You said there was an article in the newspaper about baldness.
Oh, yes. Scientists have made some new discoveries about bald men.
Well, that's interesting. What did they say?
Well, they've discovered that if a man is bald in front, he's a thinker.
Ah, well, I'm bald in front.
But if a man is bald in back, he's a lover.
Ooh, well, I'm bald in front and back. I guess we know what that means.
Oh, yes, we do. It means you think you're a lover.
Honey, are you suggesting that I could be a better lover?
Well, have you ever noticed our neighbor, Mr. Johnson?
Oh, you mean that funny-looking guy? You think he's sexier than I am?
Oh, he's so sweet. When he comes home from work, he puts his arms around his wife and kisses her passionately right there on the front porch. Why don't you do that?
Well, I would. I really would if I knew her a little better.
Honey, that reminds me of something I've been meaning to ask you. If I died, would you marry again?
Well, I never thought about it. I guess I would.
And would she live in my house?
Well, I suppose so.
Would she sleep in my bed?
Well, no. Probably.
Would she use my golf clubs?
Oh, definitely not.
Huh, why not?
Because she's left-handed.
Thank you. You've been a wonderful lawyer.
Good job, guys.
Give it up for the two teenagers. Well done, young lady and young man.